I really like those foggy, dusty, sand-like effects used in films like Avengers, The Mummy and Lucy. So how do you make these effects? Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about Maya and a special tool in Maya called the Bifrost Graph editor, and I'm going to talk about this kind of effect I've created there. I'm going to play it for you right now. There you got it, I play it once again. Okay, you see this effect, this cloudy effect. First the head there, it's animated, and I've animated the transparency on the head as well, so it disappears, and instead the cloudy effect, Bifrost Aero effect, takes over. And I've also tried to use the colors from the head for the cloudy effect here. So I'm not going to talk much about modeling, texturing and other basic stuff in Maya. I assume that you know the basic stuff. I'm going to start with show you what I've created in this scene, and you can download it if you want to follow this tutorial more exactly, or you can use your own stuff. So, to Maya. Okay, this is the scene. First, as you see, is the ground here. Nothing fancy, nothing special. I've got two lights. It's a sky dome light and an area light. So nothing crazy there as well. And these hands, funny. And I've got this head. This head shows black in this viewport, and it's just because of the material here. I'm going to show you AI standard material. I've animated both transmission actually here to make it more transparent, and if I go down to geometry, I've also animated opacity here, and this is why it shows black, because I can right mouse on the word opacity here and choose ignore when rendering here. There you see, but I'm going to take it back right now. Control C, Control C. So now it's black again. If I drag here in the timeline, you see my head is disappearing, it's animated. I've used the blend shape animation there for it, and the opacity just to make it slowly disappear here. So just a few other things about the head. So I'm going to isolate it here. So this is just a single mesh. It's important. And you see it's also quite dense. The polygons are fine, and it's got UV layout and the AI standard surface shader on it. So I'm going to hide it right now, because what did I do? I'm going to show you this head. This is a copy, a duplicate of the original head, and this is the actual head that's going to hold the Bifrost Graph effect. The cloudy effect is going to be inside this head, so I made it a bit smaller and animated it. So I drag a bit here in the timeline, and you'll see that it's growing here. It's taking the shape of the original head, and then I just animated the scale and the position to make it disappear here. So I used the blend shape for it to animate it towards the original head. And this head is just a placeholder for the effect, so later on I'm going to hide this. It's not going to be in the scene. So now I'm actually going to start the tutorial. I'm going to start with this head, and I want to change the colors to this head because I want the Bifrost Graph editor to inherit the colors of this head. First, I'm going to change the material on it. So right mouse, assign new material. It's Maya's material, and it's gonna be an old standard surface here. Now I'm going to use the method of paint vertex colors on it. because those colors Bifrost Graph can take. Mesh display here. First, Colorset editor here. I'm going to make a new color set, and I'm going to use RGB, not RGBA. So if you want to follow me, take the same here. And apply and close. Now you got a color set on it. This is the name. I'm going to use it later on. Close this. Now I'm going back here to Mesh Display, choose Paint Vertex Color Tool, Options. So I could choose just to paint colors here now, but I'm going to import the same texture I used on the original head. So I'm going down here, Attribute Maps, Import, Import, and then I've got to find it. I think it might be this one. Open. So now I've got those colors. I'm going to close this window. It looks like this. Now the Bifrost Graph can use these colors, and it's not actually at all perfect. If you have more dense geometry here, it's gonna be more accurate. But I'm going to use this now, and then I'm going to open up the Bifrost Graph editor, Windows here, and I'm going to create a graph. This input node I'm going to delete, and instead I'm going to drag head Bif here. This is my head. Middle mouse drag this and release here. So this is my input. And now I'm going to press Tab to create new nodes. So Tab, and I'm going to start writing basic underscore, and there you see basic aero graph. There it is. And this contains a couple of nodes. I want to see them here, so I'm going to right mouse click and choose explode here. So there they are, just moving around a bit. So if I just put the mesh, the head here, mesh output to source air geometry, and then I put the aero volume to output. I've created a graph, and now I don't need this head to show, so I hide it, and there you see something, a little foggy like thing. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to work with the colors. So the colors from my head I want the Bifrost Graph to use. So I'm going to create some new nodes here. Tab and get geometry, get geo property. This is what I need. Get geo property, and I'm going to need another node as well. Tab, it's going to be something with color. Aero source color property I'm going to need. There it is. So I'm going to get this mesh output again and put it into the geometry here to get geo. And now on the right side here on the get geo node, I'm going to type property. And what property shall I write? It's the, remember the color set name we used before. If I choose head Bif and go to mesh display and find color set editor here, and this is the word I'm going to write, color set, exactly like this. Color set. Enter. And then I'm going to choose which type of property this is. I'm going to click there, and it is RGB. and that is array math float 3. I'm going to choose there. And then I will connect the data here to base color on the Aero source color node, like this. I choose this node now. The voxel color is fine. I'm not going to change anything here. And now I will put this information here to the source air, and there is no input to put this Aero color property, but I'm going to drag here and choose additional properties here, like that. Okay, if I look here, nothing's changed yet, but I'm going to create some new nodes. I'm going to create a material here. So tab, this is an Arnold, let's see, standard volume material here. And I also have to create another node, and that's called assign material. So, okay, so now I'm going to put the output here, Aero volume, and this is going to assign to the assign material geometry, and the Arnold standard volume material output here is going to the input of the volume material here. And then I'm going to break this connection, click, and I'm going to replace it with this output geometry from the assign material to the output. So I see a few changes here. It got a bit stronger now, but I'm going to make changes in quite a lot of properties here on different nodes. So first I'm going to look at this node, the Arnold standard volume material. Quite a lot of properties here. The density is 1, and I'm not going to change anything there. The scatter there, I raise this value to 10, and I'll change the scatter color a bit to a kind of beige-like color. Something like this. I just found it to be more good looking. Try for yourself. And important now is the scatter color channel here. I'm going to choose this channel from the node here, voxel color. I'm copying this. Copy. If you remember, this gets the color from this node from the color set from my head. So I'm going back here, and here I'm pasting this voxel color. Maybe I can see something. Yeah, you see something changed here, the colors. And now I'm going to set transparency down here to black, no transparency here at all. Emission mode, I'm not going to use that one, so none there. Okay, fine. The next node I'm looking at is the source air. Start frame, fine. Start frame number 1. I'm going down here to fog density, change this to 1. That's what I found good. And the fog density mode, I'll set this to set. And the speed mode, I'll change this to set as well. I'm not really quite sure about this. And look at this, nice. I'm now going to change 2 values, geodetail size and fluid detail size. If you load these values, the resolution of the Aero volume will get better. So I'll try to change this to 0.005, the same down here. And now I can look at this. It looks more dense and nicer. So the third node now is the Aero solver settings. I'm going to uncheck enable buoyancy. the buoyancy is going to make the fluid upwards. I don't want that. And I'm going to change the style from smooth to busy. I've tried all these different properties, but I found busy to be the best. Okay, I made a play blast here just to look at it right now. So this is the way it looks. So I'm going to add a few more nodes in the Bifrost graph. And the nodes I'm going to add are 3 influences, and I'm going to plug them in here in the Simulate Aero influences. So first tab, and I'm going to write attract, and there is the attract repulse influence. Okay, and then I'll take the next one, and that is turbulence influence there. And the third one is wind influence. So I'll plug them in here, out influence, and I can check the attract repulse properties here. Get geosize, I'm going to lower that value 0.005, so better resolution there. And this attraction value I'm going to animate later on, so I'm not gonna bother about it right now. Max distance, maybe I'll put that to 1000, and drop off, I'll choose 0 there, no drop off. So the next one, turbulence influence, out influence, 2 influences here. The turbulence value here, I'm going to put this to 3, and I just tried it out. And then there's the wind influence there, and the wind speed I'm going to animate later, and the wind direction is right now x1, y0. I'm going to change that to -1, so it pushes the cloud to the right and down. Now, to animate a few values here, you are going to put those values back here in the Bifrost head node. You see there's a plus sign here. There you can plug in values. So the attract repulse, just click here. Attraction, this is the value I'm going to animate, and I just drag from attraction here. What happened is that if I choose my Bifrost graph here and go to channel box here, you see the value here in the channel box, and I can animate it. Okay, so I'm going to do that to wind speed. Now find wind speed plus wind speed, drag from here to the plus here. Okay, now you got wind speed as well, and just another property I'm going to put here, and that is from the material here, and that is the density. Press my button here on the volume, and there's density, and I'm going to drag that density back to the plus here, Bifrost head. So now I got these 3 values here, so I'm going to animate them. So I think I'll start with the attraction. The attraction is actually going to push the fog outwards a bit from the head. And on frame 1, I'm going to set the attraction to 0. Right mouse, key selected. On frame 22, and now these are just values and frames that I found out to be quite okay. On frame 22, I'm going to set this to -1.47. So minus will make it push outwards. keyframe that, and on frame 50 I'm going to lower that to -6, keyframe of course, and 90, the same value, key selected here, and then frame 150 there I'm going to zero out that and key selected. Okay, so that was the attraction. Now the wind speed. I'm going to start at frame 60 there, and there the wind speed will start at 0, and then at frame 90 I'm going to raise that to 10. So that's it, and the density on frame 100, key selected, so density 1, and then it's going to disappear on frame 160, 0 out. So that will, as you could see here, that will make the density of the fog disappear. Key selected, but you can see it will fade out. So now let's see the head original. I will unhide, Shift H. So before you render it all out, just a little quick tip here. If you go to the Bifrost Graph editor again here, look at the output here. If you create one more node here, it's a cache node, so tab cache, file cache. With this node you can save files on your computer, and that will make the rendering more stable and things like that. So here in the mode I will change first to write mode, because I'm going to write the file cache files, and the file name here you can choose where you will put those files on your computer, and then start frame and last frame you can change that to your liking, and then when you've done that you put out geometry to object here, and then I will disconnect this, and I will even take this aero volume away, right mouse, delete port. Now you can put out object here to this plus sign. Now you have to play through timeline each frame here, and then all these files will be saved. When you've done that, don't forget to save your Maya file here as well, and then you go back here, change this file cache to read mode and save, and then you can render everything. Okay, that's all I think. Good luck everyone.